कौन सामान साल उठाएगा? देखते हैं, ट्राई करते हैं। डिस्चार्ज होगा तो फिर तो कॉलेज को किसी काम का नहीं। ये भी चालू भी नहीं हो रहा है। हो गया हो गया। गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, we are discussing Bhakti Vaibhav 4th Canto, Chapter 9, and we are in this section, verse number 27 to 36, Dhruva Maharaj's regret or repentance. After Lord departed, giving the benediction to Dhruva Maharaj, and giving his own abode, Dhruva Lok, where there is a Svet Deep, where even Brahma cannot go, and also the worldly kingdom of his father for 36,000 years. Dhruva Maharaj now has a realization that he is the best spiritual master, Narada Rishi, and his advice was, come above the happiness and distress, honor and dishonor of this world, and just take the shelter of lotus feet of Supreme Lord. But I did not accept that. and because of my revengeful mood and enviousness towards my stepmother and my half-brother, I was foolish to ask from Lord for some material benefit. And therefore, even he got the greatest benediction from Supreme Lord, but he was not satisfied. He was morose. He was not happy. So the verse 32 says, and this is verse 32, the lesson in verse 31 is that it is better not to cultivate negative attitude and material desire. In this world, it is better we should not cultivate negative attitude towards anybody. And just to show them that we are better than that, we need some material benefits. So the both things which Dhruva is feeling are not good. Why he wanted big kingdom? Because to show to his brother and his stepmother that he wants to be better than that. So this is a material competition. That is not good for a spiritual practice. Now this verse 32 says, Mati Vishuddhita Devai. My intelligence was corrupted by demigods. Yes, whenever you do some austerity, Indra and other demigods are there to disturb you. That's natural. Mati Vishuddhita Vidushita, contaminated by Devai. Patadbhir ahasreshu bhi. Why? Who will fall down? Asrishnu bhi, they were intolerant. Ya Narada Vachas Tabhyam, but Narada has told me, Nara na grahisham asatam maha. Satam means devotee. Asatam means I am wretched. I have not actually taken Narada's advice very seriously. So demigods were actually, since all the demigods who are situated in the higher planetary system will have to come down again, they are all envious of my being elevated to Vaikuntha Lok by devotional service. These intolerant demigods have dissipated my intelligence, and only for this reason could I not accept genuine benediction of instruction of sage Narada. नारद मुझे अच्छी बात बता रहा था, लेकिन देवताओं ने मेरे को काम करने नहीं दिया. So they are against me. प्रभुपाद से पहला पार्ट है क्षणे पुणे मृत्यु लोकी. हाँ जी, यस.
यहाँ पे दोनों भी कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन लग रहा है मुझे.
हाँ,
दोनों भी कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन लग रहा है कि अगर कोई वैकुंठ में जा रहा है तो डेमिगॉड्स तो कुछ उनको कुछ दिक्कत नहीं है क्योंकि उनका तो पोजीशन नहीं ले रहा है.
डेमिगॉड ने बुद्धि को भ्रष्ट कर दिया. Since all the demigods who are situated in a higher planetary system will have to come again down, इसका मतलब क्षणे पुणे मृत्यु लोके, and they are all envious of my being elevated to वैष्णु लोक. मैं बच्चा हूँ, वो जा रहा हूँ वैकुंठ में और इनको वापस नीचे आना पड़ेगा, तो वो सब मेरे खिलाफ हो गए. Because they could not tolerate that. और प्रभुपाद का ऊपर वाला पार्ट है वही डेमिगॉड has come. It is the fact that demigod control different activities of limbs of our bodies. ये मालूम है सबको, ठीक है? Factually, we are not free even in moving our eyelids. Everything is controlled by them. Dhruva Maharaj's conclusion is that these demigods, being envious of his superior position in devotional service, conspired against him to pollute his intelligence. अरे इंटेलिजेंस का कौन सा देवता है? ब्रह्मा. एंड प्रद्युम्न एंड ब्रह्मा. अनिरुद्ध मन का है ना. चित्त, अहंकार, बुद्धि, मन, बुद्धि, अहंकार, चित्त. अब जैसे मे बी अनुदर वो तो ऐसे ब्रह्मा बुद्धि का है और चंद्रमा मन का है. तो ये इन्होंने मेरे को चीट किया. And thus, although he was the disciple of a great Vaishnava, Narad Muni, he could not accept Narad's valid instruction. नारद की इंस्ट्रक्शन क्या थी? क्या बच्चे हो, किसी ने कह दिया तो इसमें दुख की क्या बात है? सुख दुख दुनिया में आने जाने वाले. डोंट वरी फॉर दैट, डोंट बी एनवियस टुवर्ड्स योर स्टेप मदर. इसने मुझे कहा था, ये लिखा है, Why should you bother about insult or adoration from your stepmother? यही नारद ने कहा था ना. उस वक्त मैं ये नहीं मान सका. Dhruva Maharaj regretted very much that he could not take seriously the instruction of his spiritual master, and that his consciousness was therefore contaminated. Still, the Lord is so merciful that due to Dhruva's execution of devotional service, he offered Dhruva the ultimate Vaishnava goal. Next verse 33.
जी अगर वो मान लेते नारद मुनि की बात, तब तो फिर ये तपस्या वगैरह कुछ नहीं करते, ना भगवान का दर्शन होता लास्ट में.
That's right. But he should तो इतना कहने के ऊपर संभव है नारद इसको सीधा डिवोशनल सर्विस सिखा देता. Anyway, the point is that he was not, his desire was purified. The process, एक statement कल आपने पढ़ी थी ना, याद है कि नारद could have given him everything, but he wanted to train him in devotional service. ये एक statement आई थी. Krishna could have become victorious without war for Arjun, but he wanted Arjun to do that. So spiritual master can bless us directly to just go back to Godhead, but he wanted us to practice devotional service. तो खुद को अभ्यास करना आवश्यक है. यही तो मैं आपको कह रहा हूँ कि आपको अभ्यास करना जरूरी है. That's what I am telling you.
Bro, this in one sense can be like this is an expression of his repentance. So that's why his
Repentance is good for a Vaishnava to advance in devotional service. It's better always to think that I have so many faults. It's good. सब हम आचार्य कहते हैं हम तो विष्टा का कीड़ा है, ऐसे यहाँ तक कहते हैं हम पतित हैं. So this is a good humble Vaishnava attitude. So Dhruva is learning Vaishnava attitude. ये long run benefit है नारद की इंस्ट्रक्शन का. कि रियलाइजेशन हुई ना, पहले किसी के कहने पे मानने से खुद रियलाइज करके मानना अच्छा है. So now he is realizing this. So Dhruva Maharaj lamented, I was under the influence of illusory energy. Being ignorant of the actual fact, I was sleeping on her lap. Under a vision of duality, I saw my brother as my enemy, and falsely I lamented within my heart, thinking they are my enemies. Maya. So real knowledge is revealed to a devotee only when he comes to the right conclusion about life by grace of the Lord. Real knowledge is revealed to a devotee only when he comes to the right conclusion about life. हमारी life का real conclusion by the grace of God. Our creation of friends and enemies within this material world is something like dreaming at night. In dream, we create so many things out of various impressions in the subconscious mind. But all such creations are simply temporary and unreal. In the same way, although apparently we are awake in material life because we have no information of the soul and the super soul, we create many friends and enemies simply out of imagination. So real conclusion about life means life is because of soul, and life is because of the super soul who is a witness and who gives the intelligence. ये जब तक नहीं समझ में आता है तब तक हम दुनिया में को ही अपना मान के बैठे, हम न आत्मा को अपना मान रहे हैं न परमात्मा को अपना सुहृद मान रहे हैं, हम दुनिया को अपना सुहृद मान रहे हैं. ये कंक्लूजन. श्री Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami said that within this material world are a material consciousness, good and bad are same. The distinction between good and bad is simply a mental concoction. Actual fact is that all living entities are son of God, are byproduct of his material energy. अगर सोल है तो सन ऑफ गॉड है, अगर बॉडी है तो 5 तत्वों के बने हुए. इस सबकी यही पोजीशन है. All are like this. So, because of our being contaminated by most of material, we distinguish one spiritual spark from another. There is also another kind of dreaming. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that those who are actually learned do not make any distinction between learned scholar, Brahman, सीधा श्लोक पढ़ा है. ब्राह्मणी का व्यसन सुनी जाए सो पाके से पंडिता समदर्शन. ओके. देवी मायाम उपासकता. ध्रुव महाराज therefore said देवी मायाम उपासकता. मैंने भगवान की माया का आश्रय लिया, इसलिए मैं किसी को अपना किसी को पराया मानने की मूर्खता किया.
It is out of his humility. Dhruva Maharaj is saying this. Like, out of humility.
No, this is a real repentance of Dhruva Maharaj about his lofty desires that he wanted to fulfill from Lord in extent of devotional service.
For that sake, he did not ask the Lord, he did not stop the Lord when Lord is informing that your stepmother will be going to die and your brother will going to die.
He could not say anything.
He could not say anything.
He could not say.
प्रभु इधर देवी माया जो है वो जैसे भगवत गीता में देवी प्रकृति वर्ड यूज किया गया है.
देवी एचमय गुणमय मम माया दुर्तय. There is the Devi Prakriti. Devi is because it is of Supreme Lord. Therefore it is called Devi. And Devi also means it makes you a plaything in her hands. जो आपको माया में फंसा के रखती है, वो भी देवी कहते हैं उसको. 34. It is very difficult to satisfy Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in my case, although I have satisfied Supreme Super Soul of whole universe, I have prayed only for useless things. My activities were exactly like a treatment given to a person who is already dead. Just see how unfortunate I am, for in spite of meeting the Supreme Lord, who can cut one's link with birth and death, I have prayed for same condition again. मरे का इलाज करा रहा था, डेड बॉडी का. I prayed for useless things which are like medicine given to a dead person. Having pleased Lord, who is soul of universe, difficult to please by austerities, and who can destroy material existence, I prayed for material enjoyment, since I was devoid of good fortune. Out of ignorance, of course, sometime a devotee does so. But Dhruva Maharaj regret his personal behavior in this connection. Bhava means object of enjoyment, the cause of repeated birth and death. Verse 35. Swarajyam, pehla word dekho. Swarajyam yachato muriyam mano me abhikshato vata ishwaradakshina punyena फलीकारान इवाधन. स्वराज के ऊपर प्रभुपद का पर्पट है. स्वराज means independence. So there is a spiritual independence and material independence. The whole world is trying to get material independence. How? By fighting with Maya. They fight with Maya to become independent. But instead of fighting with Maya, the better is to surrender to the Supreme Lord. सो सारे पर्पट का थीम ये है, इंस्टेड ऑफ फाइटिंग विथ माया, बेटर टू सरेंडर टू द सुप्रीम लॉर्ड। दैट इज द कंक्लूजन ऑफ दिस पर्पट, स्वराज्य। The meaning of Swarajya, Chakravarti Bhasha, Swarajya means devotional service, where soul is completely independent to serve Supreme Lord. That is real Swarajya. So because of my state of complete foolishness and paucity of pious activities, although the Lord offered me his personal service, I wanted material name, fame, prosperity. My case is just like that of a poor man who, when he satisfied the great emperor, who wanted to give him anything he might ask out of ignorance, asked only few broken grain of husked rice. Swarajyam phalikaran ishwarat khina punyin karan eva adanaha, a poor man. From the Lord who offered service to himself, out of pride I ask for material pride. It is just like poor man who out of foolishness asks emperor for few small grains. ये है स्वराज्यम। स्वराज्य means complete independence. And एक लाइन एक ये देखो यहाँ लिखा है, ये है, the independence of the conditioned soul does not mean to fight with the obstacle offered by Maya, but to surrender to Krishna. ये है bottom line. माया से लड़ने से भगवान का शरण लेना अच्छा है। Real independence to be reinstated in the service of the Lord. Anyone who goes to the Vaikunth planet or Golok, Vrindavan planet is freely offering his service to Lord. That is complete independence. That is real independence. The conclusion is that anyone who is engaged in loving service of Lord should never ask for material prosperity from Lord. Avoiding material prosperity simply depends on the stringent rules and regulation of the external energy. Pure devotee asks the Lord only for privilege of serving him. Thus, this is our real independence. If we want anything else, it is sign of our misfortune. Swarajya means he who is glorious in himself with bhakti. Swarajyam, अपना राज्य क्या है? भक्ति. Bhakti is Swarup Shakti of Supreme Lord. Bhakti is under Swarup Shakti of Supreme Lord. Therefore, this is real Swarajya or independence. Lord gives position of service to his devotee Swarajya. What pride I have? Manaha. Asking for material things. A king का example है. Last verse of this section of regret, Maitreya says, Savai mukandasya padara vanvindayo rajo jushastat bhavadrishya jana vanchanti taddasyam rite artamatmano yadarichaya labdhamanna simardaya. Oh great, the great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, person like you, who are pure devotees of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offer liberation, and who are always attached to the honey of his lotus feet, are always satisfied in serving at the lotus feet of Lord. In any condition of life, such person remains satisfied, and thus they never ask the Lord for material prosperity. ये है conclusion. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that he is the supreme enjoyer. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloko maheshwaram. ये श्लोक पढ़ा है, ठीक है? The pure devotee never hanker after any kind of material prosperity. Karma is, अब ये इसके बाद जो लिखा पढ़ा है, ये है चैतन्य चैतन्यमृत का श्लोक. कौन सा? भुक्ति मुक्ति सिद्धि शकल अशांत, ये सब लिखा हुआ है. कर्मी, ज्ञानी, उसके बाद योगी, देखो तीनों मिल रहे हैं, तीनों पढ़े हैं। अब लिखा, a devotee however is not interested in such activities. He does not want mystic power or liberation. ये कुछ नहीं चाहिए. The Lord's feet are compared to the lotus, wherein there is saffron dust. A devotee is always engaged in drinking the honey from the lotus feet of Lord. Unless one is freed from all material desires, he cannot actually taste the honey from the Lord's feet. When there is a recommendation to become desireless, it is to be understood that this means that we should not desire anything for our sense gratification. इससे ऊपर एक लाइन में पढ़ रहा हूं मैं, देख लीजिए. That is impossible. One should not mistakenly think that nishkam means giving up desires. That's impossible. A living entity is eternally existent and he cannot give up desires. A living entity must have desires. That is the symptom of life. इच्छा है तो जीवन है, लेकिन इच्छा अपनी इंद्रिय तृप्ति की नहीं होनी चाहिए. इच्छा भगवान की सेवा की होनी चाहिए. So we cannot be desire. Desirelessness means desire to serve Lord. Desireless की माना क्या है? To serve Lord. So actually, every one of us already has an arrangement for our standard of material comfort. यही शाबाशा उपनिषद, जो हमारे भाग में उसमें संतुष्ट रहो और भगवान की सेवा की इच्छा करो, भौतिक भोग की इच्छा मत करो. Now next section, 37 to 53, reception of Dhruva. Now Dhruva is coming back to home. तो जो फैमिली है उसका क्या रेस्पॉन्स है और कैसा वो ध्रुव को रिसीव करते हैं, ये सेक्शन में जहाँ तक देख रहा था बिना परपट वाला ज्यादातर. We can go fast. When the king Godanpal heard that his son Dhruva was coming back home, as if coming back to life after death, he could not put his faith in this message, for he was doubtful of how it could happen. He considered himself the most wretched. Most wretched के लिए ऊपर शब्द क्या है? अभद्र. ये शब्द है अभद्र. अभद्रस्य. अभद्रस्य. How can there be bhadra for abhadra? How there can be good fortune for a impious wretched? That's abhadra. And therefore he thought that it was not possible for him to attain such good fortune. So this purpose is Uttanpa thought, I am the cause of Dhruva's going to the forest, and small 5-year boy must have died in the forest. Who will take care of him? So he thought he's already dead. So if he's coming, there is surprise for him. He said, how can I be fortunate to receive and to see again my son? I am really most unfortunate and wretched. Why I have done this? So he was thinking like that. Shardaya Akyam Dev Rishi. अब इसको याद आया, नारद ने कहा था मेरा बेटा वापस आएगा. So he has a faith in that. Although he could not believe the words of messenger, he had full faith in the words of great sage Narad. ध्रुव महाराज ने कहलवा के भेजा कि मैं आ रहा हूँ, ऐसे लिखा, मैसेज आया ना, ध्रुव का मैसेज था, लेकिन वो मैसेजर के ऊपर विश्वास नहीं है, लेकिन नारद ने कहा था आएगा बेटा ओम. Thus he was greatly overwhelmed by the news, and he immediately offered the messenger a highly valuable necklace in great satisfaction. वो जो मैसेज लाया था उसको इनाम दे दिया. He gave him some gift. Next, अब स अश्वम रथ आरोह्य, अपने घोड़ों के ऊपर रथ, और रथ कैसा था उसका वर्णन है. Oh, beautiful. Oh, then the king Uttanpa, being very eager to see the face of his lost son, mounted a chariot drawn by excellent horses and bedecked with the golden filigree, taking with him many learned Brahmins, all the elderly personality of his family, his officers, his minister, his immediate friends, he immediately left city. As he proceeded in parade, there were auspicious sounds of conch shells, kettle drums, flutes, and chanting of the Vedic mantra to indicate all good fortune. तो ये मंगल कार्य हो रहे थे और सब जा रहे थे रिसीव करने। और कौन जा रहा था? वाकई सब जा रहे थे, उनका नाम तो लो जो ज़रूरी है, उसकी माँ और उसकी सौतेली माँ और भाई। सुनीति सुरुचिश्चास्य महिष्यो रुकम भूषिते आरोह्य शिव्यां सार्धाम उत्तमाभि जगम्मतो। एक पालकी में both the queens of King Uttanpa, namely Suniti and Suruchi, along with his other son Uttam, appeared in the procession. The queens were seated on a palanquin. इस पर्पट में प्रभुपाद ने लिखा है, Suniti was so magnanimous and tolerant that she took Suruchi along with her on the same palanquin. ये बात लिखी हुई है। But by the kind words of the saint Narad, he was partially satisfied. He could understand the great fortune of his wife Suniti, कि इसका बेटा बड़ा महाभागवत होगा, मेरा नाम भी दुनिया में रोशन करेगा। And the great misfortune of Queen Suruchi, उसने समझ लिया कि सुरुचि का बदनामी होगी। For these facts were certainly very open in the palace. सबको मारा था क्या होने वाला है। But still, when the news reached the palace that Dhruva Maharaj was returning, his mother Suniti, out of her great compassion and due to being the mother of a great Vaishnava, did not hesitate to take other wife Suruchi and her son Uttam on the same palanquin. That was the greatness of Queen Suniti, the mother of the great Vaishnava Dhruva Maharaj. Okay, next verse 43, 42 and 43. Upon seeing Dhruva Maharaj approaching neighboring small forest, King Uttanpa with great haste got down from his chariot. He had been very anxious for a long time to see his son Dhruva, and therefore with great love and affection he went forward to embrace his long lost boy. Breathing very heavily, the king embraced him with both arms. But Dhruva Maharaj was not the same as before. He was completely sanctified by spiritual advancement due to having been touched by the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Next verse. Reunion with Dhruva Maharaj fulfilling King Uttanpa's long cherished desire. And for this reason, he smelled Dhruva's head again and again and bathed him with the torrents of very cold tears. बच्चे का माथा सूंघना पिता के स्नेह की निशानी है, और कोल्ड टीयर्स हैप्पीनेस के है, हार्ट टीयर्स सारो के है, तो ये हैप्पीनेस के टीयर्स थे। यहाँ लिखा है, by nature's way when a man cries there may be two causes. One, when one cries in great happiness upon the fulfillment of some desire, the tears come forth from the eyes are very cold and pleasing, whereas tears in the time of distress are very hot. Okay, ये लिखा है तो अच्छा है। Next, then Dhruva Maharaj, the foremost of all nobles, first of all offered his obeisance at the feet of his father and was honored by his father with various questions. He then bowed his head at the feet of his two mothers. It may be questioned why Dhruva Maharaj offered his respect not only to his mother but also to his stepmother, due to whose insult he had to leave home. The answer is that after achieving the perfection by self-realization and seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, Dhruva Maharaj was completely freed from all contamination of material desire. इसको कहते हैं after God realization there is no enemy left. No enemies anymore there. गया था धृतराष्ट्र के घर से अपमानित होकर उसी को वापस लेने के लिए आया। अपमान मानना खत्म हो जाता है। ये बहुत बहुत एलिवेटेड स्टेज है एक्चुअली। और ज्यादा खुश होता है कि इसी की वजह से भगवान मिला, नहीं तो कैसे मिलता। एक्चुअली दिस इज द हाईएस्ट रियलाइजेशन एक्चुअली। हमारे को ऐसे नहीं लगता है कभी शत्रु को माफ करना हमको याद अच्छा नहीं लगता है। दिस इज ए साइन ऑफ एडवांसमेंट इन स्पिरिचुअल लाइफ। ये देखो लाइन आप याद करो, आपको ऐसे लगता है feeling of insult or honor in this material world are never perceived by a devotee. Lord Chaitanya therefore says that one has to be humbler than a grass, and he recommends more tolerant than a tree. ठीक है? Dhruva Maharaj therefore has in this verse been described as सज्जन अग्रणी होना चाहिए। सज्जन अग्रणी, सज्जन पुरुषों में सबसे अच्छा सज्जन अग्रणी। फोरमोस्ट ऑफ नोबल मैन, सज्जन अग्रणी नोबल अमंग दी foremost noble among the nobles, Sajjan Agraniya. Your devotee is noblest of all, and he has no feeling of animosity towards anyone. Duality due to the animosity is creation of the material world. There is no such thing in the spiritual world, which is the absolute reality. ये हमारे को सोचना चाहिए। हम ऐसे लगता है रोज कभी हम ऐसा मैसेज पढ़ते हैं, उसमें कुछ लिखा होता है जो हमको बहुत पेनफुल लगता है कि ये डिसऑनर्ड मी, बात भी नहीं करूंगा ऐसे। लेकिन थोड़ी देर के बाद ये जब प्रवचन जब पढ़ते हैं और दूसरों को पढ़ाते हैं, लगता है क्या मैं सोच रहा हूँ, तो मैं इसका मतलब अभी तक कच्चा हूँ। आई एम नॉट एडवांस रियली। नहीं, मैं अपनी बात कर रहा हूँ। मैं किसी को मैंने मैसेज भेजा था, उसने वापस मैसेज मेरे को ऐसा भेजा कि ऐसे मुझे मत कहा करो, ऐसे लगा। मुझे अफेंड लगा थोड़ा। मैं उसी दिन पढ़ा रहा था कुछ, उसमें ऐसे ही कुछ लिखा हुआ था। तो मैंने कहा ये ठीक नहीं है, मेरे को ऐसे क्यों सोचने की जरूरत क्या है। हो सकता है किसी स्टेट में वो हो, उस वक्त उसने कुछ कह दिया हो। ये लिखे हुए को तो मैसेज के ऊपर कभी विश्वास नहीं करना चाहिए कि उसने पता नहीं कौन सी सिचुएशन में लिखा है। किसी और को लिखा हो, मेरे को भेजा हो तो why to take it like that? इसलिए मैं वापस लिख लेता हूँ, भाई कोई बात नहीं, तुम्हारे को ठीक नहीं लगा तो और कोई बात कर लेते चलो। तो उसके बाद बहुत फेवरेबल जो है मैसेज आ गया। तो ये है कि मैं अप्लाई अपने ऊपर करना है कि वाकई हमको कैसे लग रहा है ये। और विशेष आजकल मैसेज में बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है। आमने सामने इतना नहीं, इतना मैसेज में हम वी कैन नॉट रियली एक्सप्रेस एनीथिंग। इसलिए कभी भी प्रॉब्लम हो आपस में तो फोन पे बात करना चाहिए। मैसेज और क्रोध का मैसेज किसी को ईमेल लिखने से पहले, अपलोड करने से पहले कम से कम 1-2 घंटा छोड़ के फिर दोबारा पढ़ना चाहिए, फिर भेजना चाहिए। नहीं तो कभी नहीं भेजना चाहिए। ऑन स्पॉट में कोई 7% भी, ये एनालिसिस है, 7% भी आपका मैसेज ईमेल में नहीं जा सकता। और सारे दुनिया में मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग इसी की वजह से है। इसलिए जब भी काम हो फोन करके बात कर लेनी चाहिए सीधी, तो पता लगे क्या बात है। लेकिन फोन में भी उसके चेहरे को नहीं देख सकते हैं, इसलिए वीडियो कॉल करनी चाहिए। उसकी शक्ल से पता लग जाएगा कि क्या पोजीशन है। नहीं, एक्चुअली बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, नहीं तो हम बहुत गलतियां कर बैठते हैं। ये अपना सेल्फ, अपनी रियलाइजेशन के लिए कभी भी परेशान नहीं होना चाहिए। पाड़ी सिख सुरुचि, द यंगर मदर ऑफ ध्रुव महाराज, seeing that the innocent boy had fallen at her feet, immediately picked him up, embracing him with her hands, and with tears of feeling she blessed him with the words, "My dear boy, long may you live." अब सुरुचि का भी हृदय बदल गया, साधु बन के आया तो झगड़ा खत्म, भाष्प गदगदया गिरा। जीवेत परीश विद्या जीवेत, आप बहुत समय तक जियो बेटा। Next 47. Unto one who has transcendental qualities due to friendly behavior with Supreme Personality regarded, all living entities offer honor, just water automatically flows down by nature. भगवान का भक्त बन जाएंगे तो सभी आपसे मित्रता करेंगे, आपको आदर देंगे। कहाँ लिखा है ऐसे? और कहीं आप इसको बता सकते हैं? साधन भक्ति के स्टेज के ऊपर क्या दो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होती है? हाँ, क्लेश घनी एंड शुभदा में क्या है? दो बातें हैं, auspicious to whole world and whole world see him as a something. पूरी दुनिया उसको चाहती है और दुनिया के लिए वो भला करता है, ये वो बात है। ये साधन के स्टेज की बात है। ध्रुव तो सिद्ध होके आया था। साधन के स्टेज के ऊपर भी आप देखें प्रैक्टिकली, आपने ये लाल कपड़े पहने, कहीं भी जाते हैं लोग आपको आदर करते हैं, सम्मान देते हैं, तो ये आदर ऑटोमेटिकली हो जाता है जी। ये तो साधन के स्टेज की सिद्धि की बात ही नहीं है। The question may be raised in this connection, why Suruchi, who was not at all favorably disposed towards Dhruva, blessed him, long may you live, which means that she also desired good fortune for him. The answer is given in this verse. Since Dhruva Maharaj was blessed by Lord, due to his transcendental qualities, everyone was bound to offer him all respect and benediction. Just water by its nature flows downwards. A devotee of the Lord does not demand respect from anyone, but wherever he goes, he is honored by everyone throughout the whole world with all respect. विद्वान पूज्यते सर्वत्र, राजा पूज्यते, राजा को अपने राज में मान मिलता है, लेकिन विद्वान का सब जगह सम्मान होता है। तो ये भगवान का लिखा है। आगे वर्ष में था, ही बिकम फ्रेंड विथ सुप्रीम लॉर्ड, भगवान से मैत्री हो गई तो दुनिया सारा उसका मित्र हो जाएगा। Srinivas Acharya said that the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan respected throughout the entire universe because a devotee, वो कौन सा वर्ड? धीरा धीरा सज्जन प्रिय हो, अच्छे भी बुरे भी सभी उनका आदर करते थे। यहाँ तक सनातन गोस्वामी ने शरीर छोड़ा तो पूरे ब्रज ने सर मुंडवा लिया। इसलिए गुरु पूर्णिमा जो होती है उसको ब्रज में मूड़िया पूर्णिमा कहते हैं। And Brij is called Mudiya Purnima because on that day everybody got shaved head because they thought Sanatana Goswami is father for all. सबने अपको पिता अपना मान के सर मुंडवाया था, इसलिए ब्रज में उसको मूड़िया पूर्णिमा कहते हैं, गुरु पूर्णिमा नहीं कहते, मूड़िया पूर्णिमा, कि सबने सर मुंडवा दिया था सनातन गोस्वामी के डिपार्चर के ऊपर। So he was so loved by everybody. ये सबके लिए पिता के समान थे। तो साधु ऐसा होना चाहिए जहाँ जाए सब लोग समझें कि ये हमारा अपना है, उसकी अफेक्शन दिखनी चाहिए। ये प्रभुपाद की अफेक्शन से ऑटोमेटिकली ये सारे नौजवान बच्चे आश्चर्यचकित हो गए। अरे हमारे घर में जाते हैं तो माँ फ्रिज में से ठंडा सा कोई ब्रेड निकाल के बटर लगा के देती है। इस बाबा के पास जाते हैं, गरम गरम समोसे तल के खिलाता है। तो कौन ज्यादा हमसे प्रेम कर रहा है? उन्होंने सोचा नहीं, बाकी उन्होंने सोचा कि कैसे हो सकता है, आश्चर्य है। और कहता और खाओ और खाओ, और घर में तो और मांगते हैं, बस बस हो गया। कैसा आदमी है ये? सुधे था नहीं, इसका अफेक्शन जो है हमारे भले के लिए, ही इज मोस्ट लविंग पर्सन। और उन्होंने कहते जो इससे इतना हमसे प्रेम करता है उसको जीवन अर्पण कर देना चाहिए। He has done something, therefore their heart was changed. से आर्डर नहीं दिए थे बैठ के सेवा की, जैसा स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर हिस्ट्री में हुआ ही नहीं है जिसने अपने शिष्यों के लिए भोजन बनाया, उसको कपड़े पहनने सिखाया, उनके वो जूठे बस्तर छोड़ के जाते थे बर्तन, वो एक ही प्रभुपाद वो खुद उठाते थे। यूनिक स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर के कितना सेवा किया है उसने उन बच्चों का। सत्संग महाराज कहते हैं हम ऑफिस से फोन करते थे, स्वामी वो ट्रेंगुलर आप क्या बनाते हैं, समोसे आज आप बनाएंगे, हम शाम को आएंगे। हमें मालूम नहीं, हम गुरु को ऑर्डर देते थे कैसे बना के रखो। प्रभुपाद था यस यस प्लीज कम। ये आश्चर्य है। तो उनको जो चीज मिली ये है कि ये साधु ऐसे हैं। (48) The two brothers Uttam and Dhruva Maharaj also extended their tears. They were overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love and affection, and when they embraced one another, the hair on their bodies stood up. Sunitirasya janani pranebhyopi priyam sutam upagohya jvava adim tad angasprashah nivirta nirvirta, being satisfied. Nirvirta. Suniti, the real mother of Dhruva Maharaj, embraced the tender body of her son, who was dearer to her than her own life, and thus forgot all material grief, for she was very pleased. Nirvirta. नहीं समझ में आ रहा शब्द दिमाग में अपनी भाषा में। Dhruva met his mother last after she had recovered from fainting. चक्रवर्ती बात कहते हैं मां ने तो बच्चे को देखा तो मूर्छित हो गई इतनी खुशी में, इसलिए आखिर में उसके साथ जाके मिला। तो जो शब्द है निर्मृत का मतलब ये होगा कि वो गिर रही थी। ओके 50 माता के अंदर क्या ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हुई। My dear Vidur, Suniti was the mother of great hero. Her tears together with the milk flowing from her breast wet the whole body of Dhruva Maharaj. This was a great auspicious sign. Dhruva Maharaj का अभिषेक हो गया आंसू और दूध से, माता ने प्रेम से ये कर दिया। Prabhupada says, when the deities are installed, they are washed with milk, yogurt, water, and this is the ceremony called abhishek. मैं ईमानदारी से कहता हूँ, सच कहता हूँ, मैंने इसको पढ़ा नहीं था। मैं ऊपर देखा तो अभिषेक कह दिया और नीचे ये अभिषेक लिखा पड़ा है। नहीं मैं ट्रुथफुल मैं आपको कह रहा हूँ, ये नेचुरल है। समहाउ ये आपका सिस्टम अंदर चालू हो जाएगा, ये चीजें अपने आप मैनिफेस्ट होने शुरू हो जाती हैं। लिखा पड़ा है अभिषेक। In this verse, it has been especially mentioned that the tears which flowed down from the eyes of Suniti were all auspicious. This auspiciousness of the Abhishek ceremony performed by his beloved mother was an indication that in a very near future, Dhruva Maharaj would be installed on the throne of this path. The history of the Dhruva Maharaj's leaving home was that his father refused to give him the place on his lap. And Dhruva Maharaj determined that unless he got the throne of his father, he would not come back. Now, this Abhishek ceremony performed by his beloved mother was an indication that he would occupy the throne of Maharaj Uttanpal. It is also significant in this verse that Suniti, mother of Dhruva Maharaj, is described as Veerasu. Veerasu, a mother who produced a great hero. Su का मतलब सूयते का मतलब जन्म देना, वीरसु का मतलब वीर को जन्म देने वाली। There are many heroes in the world, but there is no comparing to Dhruva Maharaj, who was not only a heroic emperor of this planet, but also a great devotee. A devotee is also a great hero because he conquered the influence of Maya. माया के ऊपर विजय प्राप्त करता है। When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from Ramananda Rai about the most famous man in this world. The latter replied that anyone who knows, or anyone who is known as a great devotee of the Lord is to be accepted as the most famous. भगवान का भक्त मान क्या है? फेमस, यशस्वी है. O Vidura, hero Suniti had given birth to a hero like you. Now verse number, इसको थोड़ी देर बंद करते हैं फिर खोलेंगे, ऐसे करें. Verse number 51. The resident of the palace raised the queen, praised the queen. Dear queen, your beloved son was lost a long time ago. And it is your great fortune that he now has come back. 6 महीने के बाद. It appears therefore that your son will be able to protect you for a very long time and will put an end to all your material pangs. बहुत समय के बाद आया है, बहुत समय तक आपकी सेवा करेगा. ये पैलेस के अन्य लोगों ने कहा. 52. Dear Queen, you must have worshipped Supreme Personality of Godhead, who delivers his devotees from the greatest danger. Person who constantly meditate upon him surpass the course of birth and death. This perfection is very difficult to achieve. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj was the last child of Queen Suniti, but during his absence, she always meditated upon Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is able to rescue his devotee from all dangers. What it means? जब ध्रुवा वहां तपस्या कर रहा था, माँ घर में भगवान की सेवा में लगी हुई थी, प्रार्थना में लगी हुई थी कि मेरे बच्चे का हित हो. While Dhruva Maharaj was absent from his home, not only did he undergo severe asceticism in the forest of Madhuvan, but at home also his mother prayed to the Supreme Lord for his safety and good fortune. In other words, the Lord was worshipped by both the mother and son. They both were able to achieve the supreme benediction from Supreme Lord. इसका मतलब है कि बेसिकली ये पढ़ के सुनाना घर में जाके कि हम भक्त हैं, तो आपको माताएं, आपको हमारी भक्ति में सफलता के लिए प्रार्थना करनी चाहिए, रोना नहीं चाहिए. ध्रुव महाराज की माता ने ऐसे किया था. बहुत अच्छा है परपट कभी किसी को सुनाने के लिए, किसी का पेरेंट परेशान हो तो. हाँ देखिए, आपका हम नहीं कह रहे, भागवत में लिखा है, भागवत में लिखा है जी, ऐसे ऐसे देखो, अच्छा लिखा हुआ. Word Sudurjayam, an adjective would indicate that no one can conquer death, is very significant. When Dhruva Maharaj was away from his home, his father thought he was dead. Ordinarily, a king's son, only 5-year-old, and away from home in the forest would certainly be supposed dead. But by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not only was he saved, but he was blessed with the highest perfection. Last verse of this section. Lalimanam janai evam dhurvam subharataram nirpa aropya karini mirshta stayamano vashittapuram. The same Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, when everyone was thus praising Dhruva Maharaj, the king was very happy, and he heard Dhruva and his brother seated on the back of she-elephant. Thus they returned to his capital, where he was praised by all class of men. The people praised the king as well as in verse 51 and 52. Now the next section. 54 to 49, decoration of city and blessing on Dhruva. अब उसका स्वागत हो रहा है इस नगर में, नगर स्वागत. The whole city was decorated with columns of banana trees containing bunches of the fruits and flowers, and betel nut trees with leaves and branches were seen here and there. There were also many gates set up which were structured to give appearance of sharks. Auspicious ceremonies with decoration with the green leaves of palm, coconut tree, betel nut tree, and banana trees, and fruits, flower and leaves are an age-old custom in India. प्रभुपाद कहते डेकोरेशन मंदिर में फ्रेश करनी चाहिए, आर्टिफिशियल नहीं करनी चाहिए. दिस वाज हिज ऑलवेज एडवाइस. पुट एवरीथिंग फ्रेश, नॉट सम सिंथेटिक थिंग. तो ये नेचुरली. 54. At each and every gate there was burning lamps and big water pots decorated with differently colored cloth, strings of pearls, flower garlands, and hanging mango leaves. 4 verses describe the city. Means that ingredients were brought from the gardens and assembled. Upasankalpitahi. Arches and shining makras farm on them. Banana trunks and fruits, buds, ठीक है. 56. In the capital city there were many palaces, city gates and surrounding walls, which were already very, very beautiful, and on this occasion all of them were decorated with golden ornaments. क्या लोगों के पास धन था, सोने के आभूषण दीवारों पे लगाए थे. कोई चोर नहीं था. हाँ, कोई चोर नहीं था. इसका मतलब हम तो एक यहाँ बॉम्बे में किसी पार्टी में गए थे, चांदी के प्लेट और चमचे थे. बाहर निकलते वो सबकी स्क्रीनिंग हो रही थी, कोई ले तो नहीं जा रहा है. The domes of the city palace glittered, and did the domes of the beautiful airplanes which hovered over the city. अरे इसका मतलब ऊपर से हेलीकॉप्टर से फूली की वर्षा भी हो रही थी. वहाँ एरोप्लेन भी थे. इसका मतलब क्या लिखा एरोप्लेन के लिए? विमान. विमान पक्षी को कहते हैं, जिसके पंख होते हैं उसको कहते हैं विमान, लाइक ए बर्ड. तो यह विमान शिखर द्यूब भी चमक रहे थे. इसका मतलब तब भी जहाज होते थे, हेलीकॉप्टर उड़ते थे. प्रभुपाद ने एरोप्लेन के ऊपर बात की. देखो बात किया, उससे पहले नीचे पड़ा एरोप्लेन. देखो. Regarding the mention of aeroplane here, it is suggested by Srimad Vidyadhvaj Tirth that on the occasion the demigod from higher planet system also came in their aeroplane to bestow their blessing on Dhruva Maharaj. इस परपट में ध्रुव ना कि एरोप्लेन कहाँ से आए, बोला देवता अपने एरोप्लेन लाए थे. It also appeared that all the domes of the city palace as well as the pinnacles of the aeroplane were decorated with the ornamental work in gold, and being reflected by the sunshine, they were all glittering. We can observe a specific distinction between Dhruva Maharaj's time and modern days. For the aeroplane in those days were made of gold, whereas at the present moment aeroplanes are made of base aluminium. This just gives the hint of opulence of Dhruva Maharaj's days and the poverty of body. 57. All the quadrangular lands and the streets in the city and the raised sitting palaces at the crossings were thoroughly cleansed and sprinkled with sandalwood water, and auspicious grains such as rice and barley, and flower, fruits, and many other auspicious presentations were scattered all over the city. (58) and 59. Thus, as Dhruva Maharaj passed on the road from every place in the neighborhood, all the gentle household ladies assembled to see him, and out of maternal affection they offered their blessing, showered him with the white mustard seed, barley, yogurt, water, newly grass, grown grass, fruits and flowers. In this way, Dhruva Maharaj, while hearing the pleasing song sung by the ladies, entered the palace of his father. 60 to 64 description of the palace. अब तो बाहर शहर से आए, अब अंदर का क्या हाल होगा? जब बाहर सोना है तो अंदर क्या होगा? यहाँ बाहर लोहा, अंदर रोना. Mahamani Vatamanya. Dhruva Maharaj thereafter lived in his father's palace, which had walls bedecked with highly valuable jewels. His affectionate father took particular care of him, and he dwelled in that house just as demigods live in their palace in higher planetary system. देवताओं जैसा महल था. The bedding in the palace was as white as the foam of milk and was very soft. The bed sheets were made of ivory with embellishment of gold, and chairs, benches and other sitting places and furniture were made of gold. My God! कहाँ मैं पढ़ रहा था कितना कई किलो गोल्ड के दरवाजे, मंदिरों के दरवाजे गोल्ड के होते थे, चांदी के अभी तक भी हैं. गोल्ड कोई कमी नहीं थी हमारे पास. अभी तो गोल्ड से कम नहीं है, गुम हो जाए तो गम नहीं है. ऐसे आभूषण मिलते हैं. एक लेडी बहुत चमकीले आभूषण पहन के गई थी ब्रह्मा जी के मंदिर में, पुष्कर में. भीड़ में किसी ने उसके आभूषण जैसे चोरी करते चोर लिए, 15 मिनट के बाद वापस उसके मुंह पे मारा कि टाइम खराब किया, आज नकली माल पहन के घूमती है. तो सोने से कम नहीं है, गुम हो जाए तो गम नहीं है, ले लो. ये ऐसा माल चल रहा है. क्या क्या ऐसे लिखने वाले को इतने लिखने के लिए विजन चाहिए. Made of valuable jewels like sapphires, which depicted beautiful women with shining jewel lamps in their hands. Purport, lamba choda लिख लिया. My God! The description of King Uttanpa's palace depicted the state of affairs many hundreds and thousands of years ago, long before Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled. Since it is described that Maharaj Dhruva ruled for 36,000, he must have lived in a Satya Yuga, when people lived for 100,000 years. The life duration in the 4 yuga are also mentioned in the Vedic literature. ये सबको मालूम है. आगे चलिए. Each new yuga, the duration of the human life is reduced by 90%, from 100,000 to 10,000, from 10,000 to 1,000, from 1,000 to 100. It is said that Dhruva Maharaj was the great grandson of Lord Brahma. This indicates that the Dhruva Maharaj's time was in the Satya Yuga, in the beginning of the creation. During the one day of Brahma, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, there are many Satya Yugas. According to the Vedic calculation, at the present moment, the 28th millennium is in current. It can be calculated that Dhruva Maharaj lived many millions of years ago, but the description of the palace of Dhruva Maharaj's father is so glorious that we cannot accept that advanced human civilization did not exist even 40 or 50,000 years ago. There were walls like those in the palace of Maharaj Uttanpad even very recently during the Mughal period. Anyone who has seen the Red Fort in Delhi must have marked that the walls are made of marble and were once decorated with jewels. During the British period, all these jewels were taken away and dispatched to the British Museum. प्रभुपद वो ध्रुव महाराज को छोड़ो लाखों साल था, ये तो अभी 500 साल पहले की बात है कि सोने चांदी से ये घर बने हुए थे. The conception of worldly opulence was formerly based mainly on natural resources, such as jewels, marbles, silk, ivory, gold, and silver. The advancement of economical development was not based on big motor cars. Advancement of human civilization depend on not on industrial enterprises but on possession of natural wealth and natural food, which is all supplied by the Supreme Person of Godhead, so that we may save time for self-realization and success in human life. Another aspect of this verse is that Dhruva Maharaj's father Uttanpada would very soon give up attachment for his palaces and would go to the forest for self-realization. From the description of Srimad Bhagvatam, therefore, we can make a very thorough comparative study of modern civilization and civilization of mankind in other millennium, Satya, Treta and Dwapar Yuga. ये लोगों को कह सकते हैं. Now 60 to 64 description of the palace continues. The king's residence was surrounded by gardens wherein there were varieties of trees brought from the heavenly planet. In those trees there were pairs of sweetly singing birds and almost mad bumblebees which made a very relishable buzzing sound. This verse, the word Amar Durmaihi. Amar matlab Amarapuri, Indra ka lok. Durmai matlab trees. With trees brought from heavenly planet is very significant. The heavenly planets are known as Amarlok. The planets where the death is very much delayed, because the people there live for 10,000 years according to the calculation of demigod. Demigod calculation, we have मालूम in which our 6 months equal to 1 day. The demigods live in heavenly planets for months, years, and 10,000 years according to demigod time. And then again, after the result of their past activities are exhausted, they fall down on this earth. These are the statements that can be collected from the Vedic literature. As the people live for 10,000 years, so also do the trees. Of course, here on this earth there are many trees which live for 10,000 years. So what to speak of the trees on the heavenly planet? They must live for more than many 10,000 years. And sometimes, as practiced, even now some valuable trees are taken from one palace to another place. It is elsewhere stated that when Lord Krishna went to heavenly planet, a parijat leke aaye the. ठीक है? Now last verse of this section. There were emeralds staircases which led to the lakes full of variously colored lotus flowers, and lilies and swans and karna and kandavas, chakravaks, cranes and similar other valuable birds were visible in those lakes. It appears that not only was the palace surrounded by compounds and gardens with varieties of trees, but also were small man-made lakes also, where the water was full of many colored lotus flower lilies, and to get down to the lakes were the staircases made of valuable jewels such as emeralds. By the beautifully positioned garden houses, there were many luxuriant birds such as swan, chakravak, kandavas and cranes. My God, कब तो कुत्ते हैं घर में. 65, 60 Uttanpada enthroned Dhruva retired to forest. अब मेरे ख्याल में इस अध्याय को हम पूरा करने पे आए हैं. The saintly king Uttanpada, hearing the glorious deed of Dhruva Maharaj and personally seeing also how influential the great he was, felt very satisfied, for Dhruva's activities were wonderful to supreme degree. When Dhruva Maharaj was in the forest executing his austerities, his father Uttanpada heard everything about his very wonderful activities. Although Dhruva Maharaj was the son of king and was only 5 years old, he went to the forest and executed devotional service under the strict austerity. Therefore, his acts were all wonderful. And when he came back home, naturally, because of his spiritual qualification, he became very popular amongst the citizens. And he must have performed many wonderful activities by grace of the Lord. No one is more satisfied than the father of the person who is credited with the glorious activities. Maharaj Uttanpad was not an ordinary king. He was a Raj Rishi, a saintly king. Formerly, this earth was ruled by one saintly king only. Kings were trained to become saintly, therefore they had no other concern than the welfare of the citizen. The saintly kings were properly trained. And as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also, the science of God or the yoga system of devotional service known as Bhagavad Gita was spoken to saintly kings of the sun planet. They gradually descended through the Kshatriya king and was from sun to moon. The head of the government is saintly. Certainly citizens become saintly, and they are very happy because of both their spiritual and physical needs and anchorings are satisfied. 65 to 67 forest, okay? 66. When after concentration, King Uttanpad saw that Dhruva Maharaj was suitable in nature, mature to take charge of kingdom, and that his minister were agreeable, and the citizens were also very fond of him. He enthroned Dhruva Maharaj as emperor of this planet. पढ़िए जरा परपट कोई सो न जाओ.
Although it is misconceived that formerly the monarchical government was autocratic, from the description of this verse it appears that not only was King Uttanpad a Raj Rishi, but before installing his beloved son Dhruva on the throne of the empire of the world, he consulted his ministerial officers, considered the opinion of the public, and also personally examined Dhruva's character. Then the king installed him on the throne to take charge of the affairs of the world. When a Vaishnava king like Dhruva Maharaj is the head of the government of the entire world, the world is so happy that it is not possible to imagine or describe. Even now, if people would all become Krishna conscious, the democratic government of the present day would be exactly like the kingdom of heaven. If all people became Krishna conscious, they would vote for persons of the category of Dhruva Maharaj. If the post of chief executive were occupied by such a Vaishnava, all the problems of satanic government would be solved. The youthful generation of the present day is very enthusiastic in trying to overthrow the government in various parts of the world. But unless people are Krishna conscious like Dhruva Maharaj, there will be no appreciable changes in government, because people who anchor to attain political position by hook or crook cannot think of the welfare of the people. They are only busy to keep their position of prestige and monetary gain. They have very little time to think of the welfare of the citizens.
So, monarchy is not whims and wills of the person, but is consultation with minister, with the public, and then that person is enthroned. लेकिन शराबियों के वोट नहीं लेते हैं, लेकिन एक काउंसिल होती है, राज ऋषियों के चारों ओर ऋषियों की काउंसिल होती है, मिनिस्टर की काउंसिल होती है. They select the person, approve somebody. 67. After considering his advanced age and deliberating on the welfare of his spiritual life, King Uttanpad detached himself from worldly affairs and entered the forest. This is the sign of Raj Rishi. King Uttanpad was very opulent and was emperor of the world, and these attachments were certainly very great. Modern politicians are not as great as king like Maharaj Uttanpad, but because they get some political power of some day, they become so much attached to their position that they never retire unless they are removed from their post by cruel death or killed by some opposing political party. It is within our experience that the politicians in India do not quit their position until death. This was not the practice in olden days. As it is evident from the behavior of King Uttanpad, immediately after installing his worthy son, Dhruva Maharaj on the throne, he left his home and palace. There are hundreds and thousands of instances like this in which the king, in their mature age, would give up their kingdom and go to the forest to practice austerity. Practice of austerity is the main business of human life. Maharaj Dhruva practiced austerity in his early age. His father, Maharaj Uttanpad, in his old age, also practiced austerity in forest. In modern age, however, it is not possible to give up one's home and go to the forest to practice austerity. But if people of all ages would take shelter of Krishna conscious movement and practice the simple austerity of no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, and no meat eating, and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly, by this special method, it will be very easy task to get salvation from material world. Thus end the purport of this 9th chapter. Okay, here is the 10th chapter. Dhruva Maharaj's fight with the Yakshas. This small chapter, I think we will cover this. Krishna so desires. So Chakravarti Pasai 10th chapter describe how Dhruva, hearing that Yaksh had killed his brother, goes to Alkapuri and kill the Yaks in battle. अरे भगवान से नारद से इनिशिएट हुआ, भगवान से मिलके आया, राजा बना, फिर भी क्रोध आया और लड़ने के लिए चला गया. क्षत्रिय क्या करेंगे? Connection. Maharaj Uttanpad, a Raj Rishi, was anxious for self-realization. He thus enthroned his worthy son Dhruva and retired to forest, even before getting his son married. ध्रुवा का शादी नहीं कराया, चला गया. ये प्रभुपाद ने सोचा था, अरे मैं घर छोड़ूंगा, मेरे कौन बच्चों की शादी करेंगे? अरे मैं मर जाऊंगा तो कौन करेगा? जब मेरे मरने के बाद भगवान करेगा तो अभी क्यों नहीं करेगा? चलो जाने दो. चला गया. ये प्रभुपाद के लिए लिखा है ऐसा. सो मैत्रेय वाच प्रजापतेर दोहित्रम, तो पहले शादी की बात हो रही है. प्रजापतेर दोहित्रम, दोहित्रम का मतलब बेटी, डॉटर. दोहित्र का मतलब गाय को दोहने वाली. हाँ, दोहित्र का मतलब गाय को दोहने वाली, दोहितर. और वो डॉटर हो गया. सुषामरस्य वही ध्रुवा, उपाय में का मतलब शादी करना. ब्राह्मीम नाम, उसका नाम ब्राह्मीम था. तथा सुतो कल्पवत्सरौ, उसके बेटे का नाम कल्प और वत्सर था. The great sage Maitreya said, my dear Vidur, thereafter Dhruva Maharaj married the daughter of Prajapati Sushumar, whose name was Brahmi, and the two sons named Kalpa and Vatsara were born from her. It appears that Dhruva Maharaj married after being installed on the throne of his father, and after the departure of father to the forest for self-realization. It is very important to note in this connection that since Maharaj Uttanpad was greatly affectionate towards his son, and since it is the duty of father to get his son and daughter married as quickly as possible, why did he not get his son married before he left home? The answer is that Maharaj Uttanpad was Raj Rishi, saintly killed. Although he was busy in his political affairs and duties of government management, he was very anxious for self-realization. Therefore, as soon as his son Dhruva Maharaj was quite worthy to take charge of the government, he took this opportunity to leave home, just like his son, who without fear left home for self-realization, even at the age of 5. These are rare instances from which we can see that importance of spiritual relation is above all other important work. ठीक है? Next, verse 2. The greatly powerful Dhruva Maharaj had another wife named Illa, who was the daughter of demigod Vayu, and in her he begot a son named Utkal, and a very beautiful daughter. During Dhruva Maharaj's younger brother Uttam, who was still unmarried, once went on a hunting excursion and was killed by powerful yaksh in the Himalaya mountain. Along with him, his mother Suruchi also followed the path of her son. She died. When Dhruva Maharaj heard of the killing of his brother Uttam by the yaksh in the Himalaya mountain, being overwhelmed with the lamentation and anger, he got on his chariot and went out for victory over the city of Yaksha, Alkapuri. कहाँ है ये अलकापुरी? यक्ष की सिटी अलकापुरी कहाँ है? हिमालय में है. हिमालय में बद्रिकाश्रम की इस क्षेत्र में है. Dhruva Maharaj became angry, overwhelmed with grief and envious of the enemies, was not incompatible with his position as a great devotee. It is misunderstanding that a devotee should not be angry. Envious are overwhelmed by lamentation. Dhruva Maharaj was the king, and when his brother was unceremoniously killed, it was his duty to take revenge against the Yaksha from the Himalayas. Dhruva Maharaj went to the northern direction of Himalayan range. In a valley, he saw the city full of ghostly persons who were followers of Lord Shiva. In this verse, it is stated that the Yakshas are more or less devotees of Lord Shiva. By this indication, the Yaks may be taken to be the Himalayan tribe like Tibetan. हो सकता है बद्रीनाथ केदार के ऊपर इस घाटी में कहीं रहते हो. Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, as soon as Dhruva Maharaj reached Alkapuri, he immediately blew his conch shell and sound reverberated throughout the entire sky and in every direction. The wives of the Yaksha became very much frightened from their eyes. It was apparent that they were full of anxiety. The hero, hero Vidur, the greatly powerful hero of the Yaksha, unable to tolerate the resounding vibration of the council of Dhruva Maharaj, came forth from their city with weapons and attacked Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj, who was a great charioteer and certainly a very great bowman, also immediately began to kill them by simultaneously discharging arrows 3 at a time. When the heroes of the Yaksha saw that all their heads were being thus threatened by the Dhruva Maharaj, they could very easily understand their awkward position, and they concluded that they would certainly be defeated, but as heroes they lauded the action of Dhruva. The spirit of fighting is sporting attitude is a very significant in this verse. पहले क्षत्रिय लड़ने जाते थे जैसे क्रिकेट खेलने जा रहे हैं. It's like that. It's a sport. The Yaksha were very severely attacked. Dhruva Maharaj was their enemy, but still, upon witnessing the wonderful heroic act of Dhruva Maharaj, they were very pleased with him. This straightforward appreciation of an enemy's power is characteristic of real Kshatriya spirit. Verse number 10, 4:10. So 8 to 12, Dhruva and Yaksha release arrows at each other. So 3 to 30, Uttanpad, Death and Dhruva fight with Yaksha. पूरा दुकानी इसके अंदर पूरा हो जाएगा. The whole chapter will finish and fight. Twice as many males each fix 6 arrows at once in a retaliation. पढ़ा हमने कि नहीं ये? Just like serpents who cannot tolerate being trampled upon by anyone's feet, the Yakshas, being intolerant of the wonderful prowess of Dhruva Maharaj, threw twice as many arrows, 6 from each of their soldiers, and thus they very valiantly exhibited their powers. The Yaksha soldiers were 130,000 strong, all greatly angry and all desiring to defeat the wonderful activities of Dhruva Maharaj. With full strength, they showered upon Dhruva Maharaj, along with his chariot and charioteer, various type of feathered arrows, perighas, iron what is it, Bulgian, Nistransas, swords, Parashulas, tridents, Paravadhastra, lances, Shaktis, pikes, Rishtis, spears, and Bhushundi, weapons. So this is the name of old weapons, some. Analogies of the fight. 13 to 17 analogies of the fight. So this is a description. In each verse, analogy किसके साथ दी गई है. Dhruva Maharaj was completely covered by an incessant shower of weapon, just as a mountain is covered by incessant rainfall. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that out in this connection that although Dhruva Maharaj was covered by the incessant shower of enemy, this does not mean that he was succumbed to the battle. The example of mountain peaks is being covered by incessant rain is just suitable for when a mountain is covered by incessant rain, all dirty things are washed away from the body of mountain. Similarly, the incessant powers of the arrows from the enemy gave Dhruva Maharaj new vigor to defeat them. In other words, whatever incompetency he might have had been washed away. पानी से धुल गया, पर्वत धुल गया, ध्रुव महाराज का स्पिरिट और ज्यादा चमकने लगा. All the siddhas from the higher planetary system were observing the fight from the sky, and when they saw that Dhruva Maharaj had been covered by the incessant arrows of the enemy, they roared tumultuously, "The grandson of Manu, Dhruva, is now lost!" They cried that Dhruva Maharaj was just like the sun, and was now he had sat within the ocean of yakshas. In this verse, the word Manava is very significant. Generally, this word is used to mean human beings. Dhruva Maharaj is also described as a Manav. Not only is Dhruva Maharaj in descendant of Manu, but all human society descend from Manu. According to Vedic civilization, Manu is the lawgiver. Even today, Hindus in India follow the law given by Manu. Everyone, therefore, in human society is Manav, is descended from Manu. But Dhruva Maharaj is distinguished Manav because he is great devotee. A denizen of planet Siddhaloka, where the resident can fly in the sky without aeroplanes, were anxious over Dhruva Maharaj's warfare in the battlefield. Srila Rupa Goswami says, therefore, that not only is the devotee well protected by Supreme Lord, but all the demigods and even ordinary men are anxious for his security and safety. The comparison given here that Dhruva Maharaj appeared to merge in the ocean of the Yaksha is also significant. When the sun set on the horizon, it appears that sun drowns in the ocean, but factually, sun has no difficulty. Similarly, although Dhruva Maharaj appeared to drown in the ocean of Yaksha, he had no difficulty. As the sun rises again in due course at the end of night, so Dhruva Maharaj, although he might have been in difficulty, because after all it was fight, and in any fighting activities there are reverses, that did not mean that he was defeated. ये कंपैरिजन है, ये चार्ट में आप देख लीजिएगा. Verse 15. The Yakshas, being temporarily victorious, explained that they had conquered Dhruva Maharaj. But in the meantime, Dhruva's chariot suddenly appeared just as the sun suddenly appeared from within the foggy mist. The Dhruva Maharaj is compared to the sun and great assembly of the Yaksha to the foggy mist. Fog is insignificant in comparison with sun. Although the sun is sometimes seen to be covered by fog, in fact, sun cannot be covered by anything. Our eyes may be covered by a cloud, but the sun never covered. By this comparison to the sun, greatness of Dhruva Maharaj is in all circumstances affirmed. Srimad Bhagvatam 16:1-15. Only a rare person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful actions with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service. just like sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. Iv bhaskar, kya hai?
आगम गुरु
Huh? Niharam is bhaskar. So devotional service can do that. Verse number 16. Dhruva Maharaj's bow and arrow twanged and hissed, causing lamentation in the hearts of his enemies. He began to shoot incessant arrows, shattering all their different weapons, just as blasting wind scattered the assembled cloud in the sky. The sharp arrows released from the bow of Dhruva Maharaj pierced the shields and bodies of the enemy like the thunderbolt released by King Indra, king of the heaven, which dismantled the bodies of the mountains. Two comparisons have been given concerning the mountain. Yaks attack him like rain torrents covering the mountain. He attacked them like thunderbolts attacking mountain. The arrows of the yaks were insignificant to Dhruva, like rain to the mountain, and served to increase his desire to counteract. Just the rain washes the mountain of dirt and makes it appear bright. The arrows of Maharaj, however, took away the life of Yaksha, like thunderbolt piercing mountain. तो दो माउंटेन की एनालॉजीज और उसको ये आपके एग्जाम की बातें हैं. 18 to 19. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, मैं घड़ी नहीं लाया हूँ इसलिए बैठे था हूँ. अच्छा उधर है कोई बात. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, the head of those who were cut to the pieces by the arrows of Dhruva Maharaj were decorated very beautiful with earring and turbans, and the legs of their bodies were as beautiful as golden palm trees. Their arms were decorated with golden bracelets and armlets, and on their head there were very valuable helmets bedecked with gold. All these ornaments lying on that battlefield were very attractive and could bewilder the mind of a hero. It appears that in those days soldiers used to go to the battlefield highly decorated with golden ornaments and with helmets and turbans, and when they were dead, the booty was taken by the enemy party. Their falling dead in battle with their many golden ornament dresses were certainly a lucrative opportunity for the heroes on the battlefield. The remaining yakshas who somehow or other were not killed had their limbs cut to pieces by the arrows of the great warrior Dhruva Maharaj. Thus they began to flee, just as elephant flee when defeated by the lion. Verse 21. Manva Uttamaha. Dhruva Maharaj, the best of the human beings, observed that in that great battlefield, not only one of opposing soldier was left standing with proper weapon. He then desired to see the city of Alkapuri, but he thought to himself, no one knows the plans of the mystic Yaksha. Verse 22. In the meantime, while Dhruva Maharaj, doubtful of his mystic enemies, was talking with his charioteer, they heard a tremendous sound as if the whole ocean were there, and they found that from the sky a great dust storm was coming over them from all directions. Next verse. Within the moment the whole sky was overcast with dense cloud and severe thundering was heard. There were glittering electrical lighting and severe rainfall. 24. My dear faultless Vidura, in that rainfall there were blood, mucus, pus, stool, urine and marrow falling heavily before Dhruva Maharaj, and there were trunks of bodies falling from the sky. Askik means body, that which does not release. Thus it refers to mucus and other component of the body. It usually means blood, but blood has already been mentioned. Rudhira, the masculine ending on the word Medhasa, is the cloud ran blood. bodies fell in front of Dhruva. Okay. 25. Next, a great mountain was visible in the sky, and from all directions hailstone fell, along with lance, curved swords, iron bullions, and great pieces of stone. Dhruva Maharaj also saw many big serpents with angry eyes vomiting forth fire and coming to devour him, along with groups of mad elephants, lions, and tigers. Verse 27. Then, as if it were the time of dissolution of the whole world, the fiery sea with the foaming waves and great roaring sound came forward before him. 28. The demon yakshas are by nature very heinous, and by their demonic power of illusion, they can create many strange phenomena to frighten one who is less intelligent. 29-30. Sages arrive and offer prayers for Dhruva's protection. When the great sages heard that Dhruva Maharaj was overpowered by the illusory mystical tricks of the demons, they immediately assembled to offer their auspicious encouragement. Munayo uchuhu, ye dev, Utana pada bhagavan sattava sarang dhanava devo kshuvo avantarati haro arati haro vipakshan yana namadheyam abhidaya nishmaya chada loko anjasa tarati dustaram anga mrityum. मेरे ख्याल में अच्छी प्रार्थना है, ये प्रार्थना अच्छी है, करनी चाहिए ऐसी लड़ाई के मौके पे जैसी आजकल चल रही है, ये अच्छा है, this is very good. All the sages said, dear Dhruva, our son of Uttanpad, may the supreme personal Godhead known as Sarang Dhanva, who relieved the distress of his devotees, kill all your threatening enemies. The holy name of the Lord is as powerful as the Lord himself. Therefore, simply by chanting the and hearing the holy name of the Lord, many men can be fully protected from fire's death without difficulty. Thus a devotee is saved. अच्छा श्लोक है, लिख के रखो ये प्रार्थना करने का ऐसी स्थिति में. The great rishis approached Dhruva Maharaj at a time when his mind was very perplexed due to the magical feast exhibited by Yaksha. A devotee is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By his inspiration only, the sages came to encourage Dhruva Maharaj and assure him that there was no danger because he was a soul fully surrendered to Supreme Lord. By grace of the Lord, if a devotee at the time chant the holy name Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Simply by chanting this Maha Mantra, he immediately surpasses the great ocean of material sky and enters the spiritual sky. He never has to come back for repetition of birth and death, simply by chanting the holy name. Thus the end of the right, that is finished. Great. The sages thought that if one can cross death by hearing about the Lord, then Dhruva Maharaj could easily overcome the Yaksha magic spell. Thus they made him remember the Narayan weapon. अब नारायण वेपन ध्रुव महाराज चलाएगा. हम 8 बजे कथा को पूरा करें. अदर थॉट्स, ये इतने सारे और कोट्स हैं, देख लो. At some point of the time, even a great warrior may need an encouragement. Even a pure devotee also need encouragement. Srila Prabhupada was more encouraged to translate more books when they were being distributed nicely. Ha Krishna. Swambhu Manu arise Dhruva Maharaj to stop fighting. ये छोटा कल अध्याय पहले हम पूरा कर लेंगे very quickly, और उसके बाद we will go to the next chapter. वो थोड़ा सा लंबा है, वो पूरा करना है कल. In the 11th chapter, Manu, seeing the destruction of the Yaksha stop Dhruva from killing them and giving scriptural instruction. तो मनु भी मेरे ख्याल स्वयं वो मनु एक महाजन है ना, तो ये स्वयं वो मनु जो कहेंगे वो महाजन की इंस्ट्रक्शन है, वो महाजन की इंस्ट्रक्शन में याद करनी चाहिए। तो 8 बज गए, आपको छोड़ दें, यहाँ 1 घंटा 40 मिनट हुआ है सिर्फ।
कर सकते 9 बजे
छोड़ देते हैं जी, बंद कर दिया बस। खुश हो गए। बोलिए, बातें कीजिए, बातें करते हैं, रिलैक्स। हाँ,
एक्सपीरियंस है प्रभु जी वो प्रीचिंग का पाकिस्तान में, थोड़ा उसके बारे में
अरे उसको छोड़ो।
प्रभु जी कैमरा ऑफ कर रहे थे, जैसे आप बोलेंगे।
नहीं, इसका इतना सारा बोलने के बाद अब कुछ बोलने के लिए बचा नहीं है। देखिए कभी वो रिलैक्स टाइम में, ये पढ़ाने वाले टाइम में ये। एनीवे, इस सब्जेक्ट के लिए गोपाल क्या प्रश्न है आपका?
ध्रुव महाराज ने 6 महीने तपस्या की और
ध्रुव महाराज
6 महीने तपस्या करने के बाद वो रिटर्न आते हैं, उसके बाद उनका क्या है कि कितना साल वापस हो जाते तपस्या करने को, उनका अवधि कितना है?
देखो 36 साल फिर राज करेंगे, 36,000 साल। पहले तो वापस आए, 5 साल के गए थे, 5.5 के वापस आए, कम से कम 20 साल के हुए होंगे तब बाप गया होगा, समझे? तो इतने साल तो रहा उत्तानपाद के महल में आराम से, और उत्तानपाद जैसे गया उसने 36,000 साल राज किया। उसके बाद मतलब 50,000 साल के बाद तपस्या करने गए होंगे, कुछ टाइम तो हुआ होगा।
कानपुर में एक जगह है, वहाँ पे वो तपस्या करते हैं ना।
कहाँ?
कानपुर
कानपुर में ध्रुव महाराज? मधुबन में तो है, कानपुर में ध्रुव का नहीं है। ऋषिकेश में ध्रुव महाराज का एक मंदिर है, लक्ष्मण झूले के पास। वहां तपस्या करने के लिए गए थे, लेकिन गंगा का आवाज बहुत था, इसलिए वो अपना माला उठा के रवाने हुए। तो गंगा जी ने कहा कि क्यों जा रहे हो, आप जैसे भक्त आते हो तो मेरे पाप धुलते हैं, आप यहाँ बैठो। बोला बहुत शोर है। तो गंगा जी ने कहा इस 1 किलोमीटर में अब आवाज नहीं होगा। तो लक्ष्मण झूले वाले 1 किलोमीटर में गंगा में आवाज बिल्कुल नहीं। तो वहां ध्रुव का एक मंदिर है, ध्रुव महाराज का। फिर यहां से ध्रुव महाराज ऊपर बद्रीनाथ गए। द लास्ट ऑस्टेरिटी ध्रुव महाराज ने बद्रीनाथ में की, और वहां वैकुंठ का विमान आया। अभी हमारे पास 50 और 30 ने अभी भी 80-90 वर्सेस है ज्यादा, लेकिन हरे कृष्ण। लास्ट में कुछ अच्छे बातें हैं, जब ध्रुव महाराज वैकुंठ जा रहा है, 2-3 बातें याद करने की है। इसके एक तो प्रभुपाद की अमूल्यनेस है, और ध्रुव महाराज की मैग्नानिमिटी। ध्रुव महाराज का विमान को रोको, मेरी माँ चलेगी तब जाऊंगा, अकेला नहीं जाऊंगा। उसने मुझे रास्ता बताया था भगवान को पाने का। ये बहुत अच्छा एक ध्रुव महाराज की मैग्नानिमिटी है। और तब कहा, जो विमान चला रहे थे नंद सुनंद, कि आगे वाले विमान में आपकी माता जा रही, डोंट वरी। और उस वक्त प्रभुपाद ने क्या लिखा है परपट में, प्रभुपाद की हम बोलने से प्रभुपाद ने लिखा है, मैं बहुत बूढ़ा हो गया, अब पता नहीं अंत समय मुझे भगवान याद आए ना जाए, लेकिन दुर्वा की तरह कोई शिष्य मेरा भगवत धाम जाते हुए मेरे लिए याद करेगा तो मेरा उद्धार हो जाएगा। प्रभुपाद का ये परपट, प्रभुपाद की हम्बलनेस का एक यूनिक एग्जाम्पल है। ये ध्रुव महाराज के नेक्स्ट चैप्टर में ये परपट है, ये ध्यान देने जैसा है। मैग्नानिमिटी ऑफ ध्रुवा एंड हम्बलनेस ऑफ प्रभुपाद, ये उस परपट में इम्पॉर्टेंट है। बाकी तो बातें कल देखेंगे क्या आती है। बहुत हो गया, हरे कृष्ण। इनफ, इनफ इज इनफ। पाकिस्तान अभी तो बेचारा दुख में।
उसकी माँ से भी 4 स्टार रहती थी
जी।